Hello and welcome to another episode of My Backstage Pass. This is your host, Lee Zimmerman, and I'm here with my producer, co-host, and good buddy, Billy Hubbard. And today we're very excited to have Mr. Graham Sharp of Steep Canyon Rangers as our guest. Hello, Graham. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Lee.
Good.
Good to talk with you here.
Well, good to talk to you, too. I assume you're home in North Carolina at the moment, right?
I'm home in North Carolina, in Asheville, North Carolina here for a minute, Got a pretty busy summer coming on and into the fall, so just, taking care of stuff around the house here as much as I can before we got to get back out and get to it.
Well, you guys seem like you're always busy. I mean, you do a lot of touring. You're out there quite a bit. Very high presence here. What are the plans that you just mentioned for the rest of the summer? Where are you going?
Let's see. Well, I mean, kind of going all over the place. We got a kind of a full slate of Steep Canyon Rangers shows, some festivals, and then just a lot of theaters and outdoor type shows here through the rest of the summer. And then get into the fall, we'll get into some more shows with Steve Martin and Martin Short. I think there's maybe I don't know, 8 or 12 of those shows coming on in the fall that we'll be doing. So those are cool. And in between there, making plans for doing some recording, maybe in the fall, early winter type of time frame. So just trying to keep a bunch of balls up in the air, trying to think short term, middle term, long term, all at the same time.
Well, you guys are, I have to say, collectively the hardest working people in showbiz, the late James Brown aside. You're constantly at it. I mean, and it's been that way for like 23, 24 years, right? I mean,
yeah, I think that's right. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's gotten away from me that honestly, like, if I get going, a lot of times in the morning and whatnot, it's just so natural to me to just start the day kind of thinking about, just turning my head towards a song or something like that, something I want to work on for the day. When I'm at home, it just comes really naturally. And I think, from that mindset, it sort of leads you to what the band's going to be doing next and how you're preparing for that. So, it's a lot of fun. I enjoy so many parts of it right now, that the parts of it that are hard, like the traveling and the being away from home part. That we've sort of learned, I think, how to mitigate a lot of that stuff over the years. And, it doesn't necessarily get easy, that part, but I think we've gotten smarter about how we do things kind of as the years go.
Well, you must, because like I said, you seem like you're constantly in the midst of activity, always either on the road, recording, and then your dual situation with Steve Martin and Martin Short. I mean, what do you do for rest and relaxation, Graham?
Well, I live in a beautiful place, so I get out in the woods. I try to get out in the woods daily, but as much as I can when I'm in town. I'm recovering from I had some cartilage fixed in my knee a couple weeks ago, so
Ouch.
I've kind of been out of commission for a minute here. But in general, stay pretty active, trying to, like I say, get in the woods and just take advantage of all the neat stuff that's here where we live.
So how many gigs would you say you do annually? It seems like a lot. I mean, how many shows?
We were at a place where we were doing 120 shows a year, and that was a lot. We've scaled it back to now. I think we're doing around 90 shows a year.
That's a lot, though.
With the band, and then a handful of other sort of shows just sort of around the local area in different sort of settings and stuff like that, with some other music and stuff like that. But that's a very small proportion of it, so probably about 90 shows with the band.
The 90 shows that you've mentioned, are the shows with Steve Martin and Martin Short in addition to the 90?
No,
It's all inclusive. All
that's
right.
all one number. Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
So, we probably end up doing maybe, it comes out to about 75, Steep Canyon shows.
Yeah.
In that, within a year.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
They've been piling up in the fall lately, the last couple of years. I don't really know why.
So the fall is festival season, so that might be one reason why you're so active at that point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more like theaters and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
That we end up doing in the fall. I don't know. It's just the way, it's hard to tell. You never know year to year, season to season exactly how things are going to go, but I generally have a pretty good idea. But even at this point, you still just kind of take it as it comes a little bit.
Yeah, I gotcha. We have an upcoming album to promote here, the live album, Live at Greenfield Lake. When is that due? That's coming out soon, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be out. I think the whole album will be out toward the end of August.
Okay.
So we have 2 singles, or third single is coming out here in just a couple days from that. And yeah, it's exciting. We've never had an album like this that really, really shows what our live show is kind of about. And you're familiar with our live show. And the ways that it's sort of different from our albums. I think it draws on a lot of things in our albums, but the live show is kind of its own thing too.
Yeah. I mean, in effect, the album is kind of a summation of the career so far, because it has obviously a lot of your popular favorites, and it was recorded in front of kind of a hometown crowd, or a crowd that was very familiar with the music. Yeah. So, one thing about the band is you guys have a spectacular stage show. You're so engaging. There's so much energy and personality. Has that ever been a challenge to capture that on album? I mean, the transition from stage to studio, and in reverse from studio to stage, can sometimes present certain challenges. Have you ever found that situation?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess, a lot of times when, especially like going into an album, if there's a producer in general, most producers look at our band, hear our band, and say, wow, this is a band that plays together live and has been playing together live many shows for many years. Like, the way that I want to capture this band in the studio is live. We're just going to set up mics, and we're all going to get in a room, and we're going to play these songs, and that's how we're going to make this record. Which is, different from the way a lot of records are made, where, you're kind of adding layers and taking parts away, adding parts in, sort of building the songs a little bit more, using all the tools of the studio, rather than, say, just setting up mics, like I say, and kind of laying it down that way. So, we've gone back and forth with our studio albums. Some of them are, completely live in the studio with no overdubs or whatnot. Some of them are a little bit of a, have a little bit more like our last record. We overdubbed a lot of the harmony vocals, because there were lots of parts just sort of layered in,
right,
that we wanted to spend a little more time on. So we layered in some, a good bit of the vocals, the harmony, sort of background vocals. And then we've had albums where we've, really sort of picked the pieces apart, like not like to a Jeff Lynne degree, but I mean to a degree where, each part is sort of, we go through sort of each instrument, each voice, and really pay attention to capturing each one of those sort of on its own, and bring them together. We haven't done as much of that, but in general, in the studio, you get a song and it's 3.5 minutes, 4 minutes long. whereas, we tend to take those songs for the live versions and stretch them out to where they're, 5-6 minutes long.
Gotcha. Well, again, one of the main things about Steep Canyon Rangers is how everybody in the band really makes a decided impression. Everybody contributes to make a wonderful whole. How do these arrangements come about? I mean, how do you decide, who plays what, where? Because it seems to be that there's a lot of spontaneity to the process as well.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the goal is to sort of build in enough structure to where kind of people know when to lay back and step forward, and then within that, sort of do what you will, sort of within those sort of constraints, and that's it's a very almost formulaic way that, like, bluegrass, the bluegrass sort of is put together in that way. And a lot of it is like, when we were first putting the band together, you go to these bluegrass festivals, and it's like, okay, well, your favorite bands you see, they'll do these number of things during a show, where they'll have, these moments that feature certain instruments or instrumentals, and they'll have moments that are really like almost no instruments and lots of voices, and just sort of keeping things moving, throughout the show. It's just something that, so we really focused on that a lot early on. And I think kind of then taking that and taking it one step forward, and like how within each song do you do that to a good degree. And we had a great producer, Gary Pachosa, who did a lot of Alison Krauss's stuff with Union Station early on. He produced our record, Nobody Knows You, and sort of his whole way of thinking in the studio and within a song is like, how do you just have, you go from a moment to a moment. So this has a moment, and then you create a moment for this. And really, so just being dynamic even within a song, and what that requires is, just sort of keep bending the listener's ear in a different direction, and having things sort of pop in and out. And, a couple little surprises, little gift wrap presents under the tree here and there. So
yeah.
I think that's something we really have taken with us in how we arrange.
I mean, how much in a live performance, how much room is there for some improvisation, some spontaneity? Are those moments also, inserted from time to time? Because again, having seen you guys a bunch of times, it looks like it's very freewheeling, So
sure.
I'm curious how much of that is opportunity to sort of take off while still staying within the template, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, there's times, and we build in very intentionally into the show, and this next single that we have coming out, a song called Can't Get Home, like, is a perfect example of it, where the band basically drops out in a certain place in the song, and we give it to, in this instance, it's the mandolin player, we give it to Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And he just sort of, it's totally open. Do what you want. We know where we're going to end up, but from between here and there, how we get there and what we do is entirely up to you, and we'll follow you, and we'll, it's a real exercise in listening, because let's take this moment and let's build something. We don't have to know ahead of time what it's going to be. We're going to really pay attention and let you lead the way and support you in this. And wherever it's leading, we'll go there, and we'll go there together and give it hell and see what happens. So I think within the show, that's important to have moments like that, both for the band and, hopefully for the audience as well. I know it's really important for the band just because it encourages you to actively listen even more than play,
Yeah. Well, I mean, again, everybody is so integrated into the process here. And you've had some personnel shifts over the years, since the very
Oh yeah.
beginning. And yet everybody that enters into the confines of the band really seems to get it from the outset. Really, there's been no sort of lapse in the continuity. I'm particularly impressed
Yeah.
with Mike Ashworth, and I've told him this. He went from playing a box, and now he's listed as the producer on the album, on the live album, and he plays a ton
Yep.
of other instruments. And boy, he's really grown up. That Mike Ashworth, he has really grown up. Look at this, yeah.
Let's don't get too far ahead.
Well, okay.
He's still got a lot of growing up to do, but no, he is.
Yeah.
I mean, he is really an exceptional player, and a great. He just has such a great feel for it that we lean on him for a lot, and there's not a lot of people we would trust to come in and play drums with our bluegrass band.
Yeah, right.
Because it's such a, it's just such a particular thing. And, it would be easy to just totally flatten the dynamic of the band and crush what everybody else does, as a drummer. And because that's, drummers are asked to sort of, set that and you're in charge here,
Sure.
But
yeah.
the way our band rhythmically acts is, I mean, we're leaning on him a lot, but at the same time, like he's leaning on us and actively listening to us. So, it takes, he's a special drummer, and then you get him off the drums, and if it's guitar or banjo or dobro or whatever, he just plays it all beautifully.
Yes, he certainly does. And the newer members of your band, Aaron, Burdett, and Barrett Smith on bass, again, it seemed very seamless when they came into the fray. I mean, Aaron in particular, sort of took the place of Woody and has to come right to the foreground there. And yet he's done that remarkably well, not only with his singing, with his songwriting as well. Very fortuitous in that regard.
Yeah, I agree. We've been really lucky in the people we've been able to find.
Yeah.
Who've come into the band, and just the way, it's required a good bit of work, and I'm glad it looks seamless from the outside, because it really does take, it's taken, as you can imagine, a lot of getting used to each other, and, people to change what they do a little bit in subtle ways to make room for everybody. In some ways, not so subtle. Even Barrett, who had been in the band, I don't know, 5 years before Aaron joined the band, his role changed when Aaron joined, because we asked Barrett to sing a whole lot more.
Yeah.
Than he had before. And so he put a lot of work into that. And so, I mean, it was one person coming into the band, we never tried it to be just like a plug and play thing. Like, you play these parts that the person before you played. Like, no, like, we brought you in here for a reason, which is because we like what you do. So let's figure out how to take what you do and bring it together with what we've been doing and make something, take something new out of it.
Yeah, well, it really is phenomenal too. And you yourself, Graham, you put out a solo album a year or two ago as well, right? I mean,
yeah.
Do you have another solo effort planned at any point, or?
Yeah, I've got one that's probably, I don't know, 80 to 85% finished.
Really?
Yeah, just another, just a handful of songs that, a lot of them are songs that, I'd kind of written, and they were around for a couple album cycles with the band, and we never, just never happened for the band for one reason or another. So rather than just letting them gather dust, I figured I'd give them a little polish and make another album of them. So yeah, that'll be out, I don't know, maybe early next year. I really don't know.
So here's my childish question of the interview.
Yes.
When you brace
I'm
yourself.
sure I have a childish answer. Yeah.
All right. Well, when you do a solo album,
Yep.
do the other members of the band say, "Oh, how come we're not on it? Oh, we want to be on it, and why are you leaving us behind?" You know.
Oh, it's sad.
Yeah, I know.
No, they really don't. And I mean, actually, I've got Mike Ashworth is producing this new one. So no, it's not that. There's not a lot of that, and I think I think it gives us a chance to have even more sort of things to build on with the band. Like the band can't record every single song, but if something comes off well on one of my albums, like maybe it's something that can translate into the band using at some point. So,
Gotcha.
Like Barrett and Guggino made an album, sort of like the traditional folk music of Italy, and like, I definitely was not clamoring to be on that one because it's something they put a lot of time and effort into learning this very specific thing. So yeah, I mean, I think it's good after as long as we've been doing this for people to sort of have other ways to, maybe not need the band to be everything that they put out.
Right. I got you. So tell us how the association with Steve Martin and Martin Short came about, because it's a very high profile situation to be in, and it's got to be just a gas to tour with those two characters, I would think.
Yeah, it's ridiculously fun around those guys. And I mean, we toured with Steve for probably 7 or 8 years before Martin Short joined in,
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, it was touring with Steve and also with Edie Brickell with Steve was,
yeah.
It was really, really amazing. He's just so creative. And I mean, he was so good. His banjo songs, all his stuff was so wonderful, but it's very different doing this show now with Martin Short as well. It's a lot of comedy, and those two guys are best friends, and they're having a lot of success together right now with their TV show and whatnot. So
sure.
It's crazy to see them, like, after the career they've had, and it was with the music of Steve, but to see them, how excited they still get over what they're working on, after having done it for as long as they have.
I mean, it's just got to crack you up at points, because, again, I've seen a couple of those shows, and I forget who says it. Maybe Steve says it. If we're not having fun, it's not worthwhile. And then you guys walk off stage. I love the irony. It's hilarious.
Yes.
And I remember Martin Short making a comment to Steve or to the audience, like, we're going to do sort of our tributes to one another as if we were, dead, because, you don't hear it when you're dead. So let me start. And Martin says something like, I'm sure Steve is looking down on us now, because he always looked down on us. It's hilarious. I mean,
yes.
You must still love those punchlines, I would imagine.
Oh, it's really fun. I mean, like it's great. I mean, and also, just the way, after having known Steve beforehand, the way that, like, Marty sort of brings him out a little bit.
Yeah.
Steve can be a not shy necessarily, but he can just be a quiet, on the quieter side, but like Marty is the opposite of that. And I mean, it's so fun. It's so fun being around those two guys.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
They're
really, and they're really just so wonderful and generous to work for and work with that. I couldn't ask for anything more out of that.
That's great. And along with Steve, you were nominated for a Grammy for the album you did with him, and you won a Grammy on your own as well, right? That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. Let's see. I think we got nominated for, I think, the Rare Bird Alert album.
Yes, that was it.
2011. And and then we won with the Nobody Knows You album that, was just a band. And then we got nominated again for, I think, the Live and Merlefest album we
Oh
did, which was
yeah.
a cover. It's like
Mm-hmm.
covers of all North Carolina songwriters.
Yes,
We called
wonderful.
it North Carolina Songbook, and that was cool. That was a really unique album. Like, I mean, a lot of those songs we had never played for anybody before we got up there on that stage at Merlefest. And,
Really?
just
Wow.
yeah, and just recorded the thing sort of on a whim, and it turned out to be a great recording, a great set. Yeah, and got nominated for the Grammys. So that was cool.
Yeah, happy to say I was there during that performance as well.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I've been there a few times for you guys and enjoy it every time. My wife, Elisa, absolutely adores you. And, well, it worries me a little bit, Graham. I mean, come on, little maternal situation going on there. I don't know, but it's really terrific.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
She's awesome.
yeah.
I love her.
So I'll send her your regards for sure.
Please do. Please do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So how did you go about choosing the particular songs that were on this album? A lot of choices, I would imagine.
Yeah, I mean, a ton of choices. It kind of happened that, we recorded maybe, I don't know, 10 shows over sort of a period of a few months. And we were planning on, going through all the shows and sort of picking the best versions of songs and then just building the album out of that, So if it's a song from whatever, Roanoke for one night, and then a song from this Wilmington show another night. But then as we started listening, we just really liked the Wilmington show and just sort of the vibe of the whole thing, and just came around to thinking that it might be better to just release more or less one show. So that right there, cut down our options to, if there's 80 songs that we were playing or whatever, it cut it down to 20 songs or so that we did on that show.
Yeah.
And then we more or less left the set list intact from there. There's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 songs from the show that we cut, just for length considerations. But otherwise, the show sort of follows, how the arc of kind of a normal Steep Canyon Rangers show would go, with different moments, different singers, different sort of configurations and stuff like that. We tried to, just leave all that intact. So I feel like it flows pretty naturally like that.
It certainly does. And for anyone who has not had the opportunity to see the Steep Canyon Rangers, this is a great introduction in that regard. But I don't think anything substitutes for actually seeing the band in concert because of the magic and the chemistry and just the way you relate to an audience. It's almost amazing to me how every show you do, that energy is intact. It's like, there's nothing moot about a Steep Canyon Rangers performance. It seems that you're up and connected and ready to receive the audience with each performance that you do. It's so fresh, so fresh each and every time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. I mean, we really try to, for one thing, just change the set list from show to show. So things are still, keep things fresh and keep some surprises in there. And then just make sure everybody's really feels like they're, have their moments to feature and kind of have their sort of say in how the evening goes. And I think that goes a long way with the band.
I mean, you guys just seem like you're so happy to be doing what you're doing. Well, no, I mean, look, Graham, it's true. It's 20-something years here. Some people get burned out. Some people get tired of the touring, interpersonnel squabbles. It looks like you guys are just delighted each and every time out there. That just comes across so, obviously there too.
Oh yeah, man, we're trying, you know, one, having a good time, and two, you know, trying really hard to make it, you know, a little better every time. So
with what you're saying about the choices you had to make, is there any possibility that there will be another live album in the future with the songs that might not have made it onto this collection?
yeah, I mean, we've sort of talked about it. Yeah, what that would look like. I mean, you know, just capture another show that we really like, and you know, something that's significantly different from that last show, and go from there. Yeah, that's definitely been kicked around a little bit.
Cool. And you guys have your own festival, don't you, in North Carolina? Don't you have?
Yes, we do. It's been going for about 15 years now.
Wow. Tell us about
maybe
that.
17 years. Yeah, it's called Mountain Song Festival, and it's at the Brevard Music Center. So great facility right here in the mountains. It's in the fall. It's the second weekend of September. So you knock on wood. It's generally a beautiful time of year in the mountains. And yeah, it was right. Let's see, it's 2 days, just be Friday and Saturday.
Okay.
And, you know, we sort of get to curate the bands, and it's a fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club of Transylvania County, and it's raised well over $1 million for the Boys and Girls Club there.
Wow.
So
Cool.
yeah, it's a killer cause, and great, you know, always just top shelf bands coming to play it, and yeah, really friendly, sort of, you know, user friendly festival. You know, a manageable size. It sells out at about, I don't know, 2,300 tickets. Excuse me. So, you know, not too big, but big enough to feel like you're in a crowd. So it's a great time. Mountain Song Festival.
Who do you have coming this year? Have you picked the bands that are going to perform?
Yeah, let's see. I know we have Molly Tuttle and Golden Highway coming.
That's big.
Awesome.
Yeah.
We've got a fellow named Zach Top coming.
Okay.
It was really wonderful. I think, you know, it's nice at these festivals to be able to sort of bring people who are known, and then also introduce our crowd to some of these new folks, you know.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Rob Ikes and Trey Hensley will be there.
Oh, cool.
Which is awesome. Yeah, Woody, Shannon Whitworth and Woody Platt.
Mm-hmm.
So you may know them.
Yep.
Let's see. And then Trey Wellington Band is going to be there this year, and Hank and Patty and the Current are going to be there this year. So
terrific.
There's some great stuff. Yeah, it's going to be really fantastic.
For those that are interested in attending, how would they get tickets and that sort of thing? Is there a website?
MountainSongFestival.com.
Okay. All right.
We'll have all that stuff. We also have tickets on the band's website, but MountainSongFestival.com.
Okay.
Has all the information on it.
All right. Great. Yeah, I think that would be a nice choice. I think Elisa and I will talk about that. Maybe we can convince
you
Billy
should
to
come.
Yeah, it sounds great, and it's not far from home. So what the hey? The hey?
Bring it on. It's a winner.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, buddy, thank you so much for your time, and thank you also for the great music. I know you guys have really meant a lot to Lisa, my wife, and myself. And I think to the whole realm of bluegrass, or whatever we're calling it, newgrass, whatever we're calling it today, you guys you've had a marked influence. I think you've left an indelible impression on the transition of bluegrass from, what it was traditionally to the fact that it's become a populist phenomenon now.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's brought it into the mass appeal realm, and you guys have had a lot to do with that, with melodic songs, great playing, great performances. You're something special. Let me
Thanks,
say
brother.
that. You really
we appreciate we appreciate the support over the years.
You'll always have it.
I think I think we've got a few surprises left, so it feels good. It feels fresh these days. It's sort of some new blood and whatnot. So, I think all we know to do is just to keep sort of pushing, keep trying to grow. So that's what we're doing.
Well, you're doing a great job of it. And you tell that Mike Ashworth, I'm so proud of him as he's grown up from that box to, I'm just so proud of that boy, but I'm proud of all of y'all. All right, buddy. We're gonna sign off. Don't go anywhere, Graham, so we can just say goodbye off air here in a minute.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. Really appreciate y'all.
You got it.
Yeah, big thanks to Graham Sharp of the Steep Canyon Rangers and host Lee Zimmerman. Be sure and check out Lee's new book, his latest book, 30 Years Behind the Glass. Jim Gaines, now available on Amazon. And please like, share, and subscribe to my Backstage Pass on your favorite platform. And we'll see y'all next time. Happy trails. Happy trails.